this is basically how you do the legislature on this page. And then the next page, we call it regulation, so that would be how you would do the governor's office. So those are the details there. And so just because of our time constraints, I will go ahead and leave that information with you. Like I mentioned, it's also on our website. So we have, in everything that I've been talking that we do on the national level, we want to do at the state level, and you can also duplicate it in your big cities in the local area also. Okay, so lobby visits, a how-to guide. So we have a detailed document on, now it's time, we've picked 3-4 people, they're gonna go and they're gonna meet, we worked out meetings with the governor of California, with just the right staff. We're gonna do an introductory meeting, or maybe it's a meeting over in the legislature. We've picked the top 2 or 3 most important legislatures. We're ready to do our introductory meetings. So at the national level, I've got 435 congressmen and I have 100 senators. So every week I'm doing at least 3 to 4 meetings, but we do this full time and we do this professionally. So we're talking about a volunteer organization. So we won't be doing 3 to 4 meetings every week. We'll be doing, we'll work out over a year, just the important ones that are introductory. We're now here. When things come up, include us, and then we'll do meetings to put out fires, of course. Initially for California, I would recommend getting to the person who's in charge of coalitions for the governor's office, contacting that person, getting a meeting, sending at least one person in to brief them. We have PowerPoints. The overview of the demographics is most important to them, so they can see what the community is, and then they know, have a business card, a contact, and getting looped in and being listed as a coalition, a statewide coalition, so that and then giving them the list of our policy issues, and when they're perhaps putting together a coalition on education issues, they know to throw us in. On contraception issues, they know to throw us in. If it's some issue on let's clean up the bay, they know not to throw us in because that's not on our policy list. So I would do these basic introductory meetings once the chapter is formed and is ready to do that, definitely with the coalition person in the governor's office, and then the coalition person for the top legislatures in the House and the Senate, on the Republican side and the Democratic side. And those are we are now here, we need a seat at the table, and they'll sit there. They'll usually sit there and tell you, okay, we can work you into this group. We've got a tax reform group going on. Do you care about tax issues? We can get you into that group, and then you get on those listservs. So that's what we need to do straight away, and then it would be just putting out fires until we get more mature. And so when there are meetings, then we have the details here on exactly how to prepare for the meeting. Remember, we have all the materials. Nobody needs to reinvent the wheel. And when we prepare materials for people to go in on the state level, we have our boilerplate national materials that are very helpful. And then we'll put in specific state stuff, of course. Now, the next document I want to go over has to do with contacting your legislature, lobbying by phone, email, or letter. So it doesn't have to all be done with in-person meetings. We're talking about how volunteers within the state chapter can be very helpful over the phone, very helpful with letters, and very helpful with email. Most everything is done by email these days. 90% of everything is email. Phone is helpful when you're maybe trying to get with the scheduler and trying to get a meeting, but I would highly recommend the biggest response is coming from emails and letters going in via email. Most legislatures have a policy that every email, every letter is answered, and they have the staff to do it, and everything's tracked. And the elected official is given proof that they are answered. Okay, and then presenting testimony, very important. I've testified before Congress many times. We have state chapter leaders that have been testifying already in a variety of states. I think 5 or 6 have already done it this year and have had really good success killing bills. And so we've got the format here, and when there's something that we've identified that's a huge problem area in California, we're going to get in there and we're going to be contacting the professional staff for that committee. Maybe it's an education committee or health committee, maybe it's in the House, maybe it's in the Senate. We're going to be asking to let our people go in and testify. A lot of times we might be the only one on the other side of an issue. So if you have all religion over here, they have to usually scratch around and really look hard to find a group on the other side. So actually the staffers in the House and the Senate and for the state House and senators will be very happy to see us come online. And they'll be very happy to know, because I worked for 4 senators, and to have a group out there like the Secular Coalition for America on the issues that I had to work on, where I had to go and get the other side of the argument quickly, and it's well documented, and it's representing all those people, is a dream for a staffer. So you're actually doing them a favor. And remember, we're going to be coming out with the model secular guide for legislatures that is going to cover every issue in detail, well documented, and it's going to be electronic, and we can send it out, to everybody. And that'll be very helpful. Once that is done, it'll help all the state chapters, and it will be very relevant at the state level. There's more than enough information on how to do the lobbying, whether it's testifying or it's an in-person meeting or we're sending in emails. We've got all the details for you. We have these documents electronically. Now, for state chapter fundraising is a lot of fun, and it takes, takes just the right personality. I have to admit, you have to convince yourself that everybody wants to hear what you're talking about, and they care about your cause, and they would give their last dollar to the cause, and you just convince yourself that that's really what they're thinking, and just be rather bold about it. And so we have a document here that's actually in detail about how we're asking at the moment, because we're just taking kind of like introductory steps. So what we're doing at the moment, we've identified 10 states, and of course California is one of them, and we have been talking to people who are involved in the chapter, like Greg Langer and others who are involved in the chapter for California, who would like to help us with fundraising. So we have 10 states, and California is one of them, that we think that they should be able to help us raise $2,500 over the rest of this year. And there are a lot of different ways that we can do that. They can simply, try to find one person, to write a check, or try to have a little potluck and ask people to kick in $50 or $100 or whatever. And we have in our budget this year for the Secular Coalition for America that we're, hoping to raise $20,000 through the state chapters. And we've been talking, some of the other chapters are after us. Hey, we want to raise money. We like to raise money. Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Massachusetts, North Carolina. We're going to do a fundraiser. Come down, we've got plans. And Boston American Atheists, they said that every other month they do a fundraiser for a different group. And then the other month is, raising money for their group. They already have that policy going. So they're just going to pick, an event, and it's going to be for the Secular Coalition for Massachusetts. So we would really, the pressure's on. There's stress there. Looking for, kind of $2,000 to $2,500 that we can identify that the leadership and the Secular Coalition for California, helped find the money. It wasn't Edwina flying in on her own, driving around looking for people asking for money. Knocking on doors, which I do. And so with all these new people and new groups coming online, there's any way that you can do it. It's not a lot of money, but it's just sort of like getting people kind of trained up. And as a matter of fact, a number of people in California said, we want to do it. We want to be one of the 10. All right. So, if we know we have to spend $200,000 this year to make the state chapters work, and what we're hoping that we can raise $20,000 to offset it. And but we've got 6 months to do it now, and so that's basically the plan. So we'll be back in touch with the leadership to try to make a plan for how we can raise the money and how we can be involved. It could be just it could be that we send out an email. It might be, okay, Edwina, we want to send out an email to the Sacred Coalition for America's database coming from the Sacred Coalition for California, and we want to ask the people in California to contribute something additional in the name of the Sacred Coalition for California. It could be as simple as that, or it could be that, we've identified 10 people that want to come to a little house party. House parties are great. Pledge cards are great. We have huge success with pledge cards. We'll have a little dinner party. People will go through their Rolodex. We'll get like 20 people at somebody's house, have some wine and cheese. I'll stand up. Maybe somebody else will stand up and give some testimony, and then we have little pledge cards. They look a little attractive. They look like this. We'll slip out little pledge cards, and we'll say, we'll hope that you would pledge something for the Secular Coalition for America to help with the California chapter. And we can, make a note and kind of tag it that it is coming from the chapter. And what if the chapter raises $5,000? Then we, have a note in our book that there's an extra $3,000 there that they raised beyond what we wanted them to raise. So lucky California that you're one of those 10 states that we're looking to this year for this amount of money.